Can you fucking stop?
Shorter. The circuit went from 4.9 miles long to just 2.6, making it one of the shorter circuits raced in recent years. In 2019, Max Verstappen's Red Bull became the first Honda-powered car to win at Interlagos since Ayrton Senna's in the class in 1990.
Hello everyone and welcome to the APPF1 Tier 2 Season 9 final race here in Brazil. We've got two drivers in the fight for the driver's title. We've got two teams in the fight for the constructor's title. Both championships could go either way, and I cannot wait. That would be no problem at all, Rick. If you want to join, feel free. I'm assuming you would act a bit like Ted Kravitz again. Dry, says Jacko, in Brazil. Wow. Dry finale in Brazil. You don't get that very often. Here is one of our championship contenders. It's LB Racing 33. He's already got two Tier 2 championships, and he was handed a huge lifeline last week when his main title rival, who was 18 points ahead, crashed out in Baku. LB won the race, and now he leads the title fight by 3 points over his rival. And Lawrence has got it all to do as a result of that. If he wins this race, he gives himself he will win the title. That is all. There's nothing else to it. If he wins this race, that's it. But there are permutations which I will be referring to in case neither of them win this race. And with 17 cars on the grid for the finale, it's certainly a good possibility that neither of them end up winning this race, and given that it's a Brazil finale, there's going to be plenty of drama, I'm sure, to come. Lawrence comes through turn 3 on his first lap of the session. He's got his title rival LB just ahead of him, just a corner ahead of him. They're both on the same lap at the same time. As they come through, I'm going to ride on board with LB. It looks like Lawrence is invalidated. Yes, he has at turn 4, so he's going to have to go again. But LB in Sector 2, he's still going on his first lap of this session. I really can't call qualifying here. We've also got TTV Max and Zuba racing with us today, which is great to see, as both of them we haven't seen in Tier 2 for quite some time, so it's great to see them back. But TTV Max not at a family dinner for once, and Zuba, great to see him always. LB's already ran out of ERS. Lil Manny Man's in the chat as well, but he's down to 0%. He still goes pole though, an 8.8 for his first attempt in the Alfa Romeo. But even with running out of ERS at the end, Tier about 5/10 adrift, which is a huge margin here in Brazil. We've got Mr. J-Man, who's gone into P3. As Zuba has invalidated. We've also got the Haas of Scott coming across the line. He's P2, some 3.5 tenths back from the championship leader. Palango's P4. The other Mercedes is Sumo a long way behind, so he's going to go again. JB goes P6, 8 tenths down. That lap from LB looking very, very good at this stage. Jonathan, again, he's going to have to go again. And Lawrence back in the pits. What about Jack Alaco? He's down in P7 for now. Zuba's invalidated. What about the other McLaren of Krauser? Also invalidated. So not a lot of clean laps in this first wave of laps, but LB pole by a huge margin at this early stage of qualifying. And he's going to take some stopping. But Lawrence will be hoping he is going to be the man to do it. And I think MCL will be up there as well. Alex G, we know he's got some good pace in him. Robsu on his day. Aces, he's been fantastic lately in Tier 2. Couple of podiums and a win as Sumo comes through the final sector but invalidates at the final actual corner on the circuit. That is turn 12, I believe. And he's going to have to mosey on into the pits with no lap set. Same for Jonathan just behind him. So both of them struggling to set a lap in this early stage, but still 13 minutes to go on a very unusually dry Brazilian Grand Prix circuit. Zuba looks like he's coming in the pits as well, but Robsu, the Finnish driver, through the final corner now. Down towards the line he goes. In the Alfa Romeo, DRS is going to deploy. He nearly invalidates on the exit there of a non-corner, which was quite strange, but he still goes P5. It's a decent effort from the Alfa Romeo driver as they search for that constructor's title. Palang is 1,000th of a second slower than Tier, by the way. Very close between those two. As Alex G on a lap in the Aston Martin. He's one of the drivers today who can definitely challenge for pole. As he comes through the middle sector now, this very tricky section of track. A lot of laps are made or broken in this sector of Brazil. Through he goes. Down towards turn 10, which should be flat out for the Aston Martin driver, and it is indeed. Brake as soon as you lose sight of that board on the right hand side, and down through the final corner comes Alex. 52.0 in sector 2. What's it going to be across the line? We're about to find out. DRS is going to deploy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't think it's challenging LB. No, it's not, but only by 1.5 tenths. He goes P2 for now, but LB looking very strong at the head of the field right now. Aces also on a lap right now. Sector 2, he's a 51.7. That's 3 tenths faster than what Alex did in that sector. So he could be a challenger here. Lawrence also on a lap at the moment, but he's come off the ERS for some reason. Aces, though, coming to the line. This could be a new pole position time. It is by 1.5 tenths. Finally, the championship leader is dethroned from that provisional pole position. TTV Max also on a lap in APPF1 for the first time in a long, long time. It's great to see him back. And let's see if he can live up to the hype as he comes through sector 2, but it's the championship challenger who led this season by so long, and then Baku, it all came crashing down. It looks like he's doing 2 outlaps actually, so getting the tires as warm as possible. So an interesting strategy from Lawrence. I have to agree with him. I think that's the best thing to do around here. But TTV Max now coming to the line. He's out of ERS already, just like LB was, but I don't think it's going to be quite as fast as the championship leader's lap. Lawrence P12 with that lap with no ERS, and TTV Max goes P13, a long way back from the pace at this stage. But here comes Lawrence on his first proper lap. Since he's come out the pits for a second time. Turn 4, a little bit wide on entry, but not too bad from the championship challenger as Tier improves to P3 in the Red Bull. Just 1.5 tenths behind Aces, but a few hundredths behind LB, but Lawrence is invalidated again. He's going to be fuming with himself. The last thing that he wants to do now is qualify at the back of the grid for a championship finale where there's 3 points in it. MCL as well in the Alpine coming through sector 1 at the moment. What is he capable of as he comes through? We've got, I think that was Palang who improved. Jackalacco improves to P2. It's so close between those top 6. Less than 3 tenths in it. As everyone's improving at this stage, LB's just about to start his next lap. MCL a bit of a twitch out of turn 4 by the looks of it, but seems okay going through turn 6 now. And into this tight, difficult sector 2 he goes. Can he get the line right? Does he invalidate at the last corner, or will he keep it on track? We're about to find out. Through the middle sector he goes again. Turn 10. flat out all the way through down towards 11. 51.7, that's similar to what Aces was at this stage of the lap, but a huge snap on the exit of turn 11, and that's going to cost him a huge amount of time on the run to the line. It won't be pole, and in fact it's going to be a trip back to the pit lane. No, he has stayed out to finish the lap. It's not going to be pole, but it's going to be close. I mean, he's 4/10 down. That's probably about what he lost from that mistake. So MCL knows that he has it in him, but P7 due to that mistake, and it's so close out there. LB now coming to the line. Is he going to improve on his previous best and beat Aces to pole position? It certainly looks like it. It's a very good lap from LB. It's an 8.4, 2.5 tenths ahead of Aces versus Kings. Huge time from the championship leader as everyone fights for position here in this quali session. It's so close. I'll send you an invite when things have died down a bit, Rick, maybe even after quali, just because it's a bit crazy at the moment. I don't want to miss anything. I think that was Sumo improved to P12. Zuba on a lap in the AlphaTauri as well, currently in Sector 2. Mr. J-Man on the out lap. Who's that? It's Krauser coming to the line. Is he going to be anywhere near pole position? It's going to be a 9.8 from Krauser. It's an improvement, but not in position. He stays P13 for now. The man who finished P4 in the championship by only a few points away from becoming champion last season. So it was such a shame. Alex has invalidated his next effort. MCL coming into the pits. Louis asking in the chat, how do you invalidate or how do you get a snap on the exit of turn 13? Very easily. It happens to me all the time. Very easy corner to mess up like that. We've got Sumo coming through. He's not on a lap right now. Lawrence, though, here we go. The championship contender. He's going for it again. Is he on the same set of tyres? No, he's pitted and moved on to a different set. So here he goes, 3.5 tenths up in Sector 1. Much better through Turn 4 than the last time we saw him as he comes through the middle sector now. This is where he invalidated on his previous effort. It was at this corner on the exit. Can he get it right this time? Nearly bins it, but just about keeps it going, but has gone very deep, and that's not going to be ideal. He'll have lost at least a few tenths from doing that. But he's going to be hoping to at least get himself into the top 6 or so at this stage of the session. Only 6 minutes to go in this thrilling qualifying session with LB on pole. Lawrence 9 tenths up on his previous best in the middle sector. It's not going to be enough, though, to get him close to the top runners. As it stands, he would only be P9 or 10, using all the ERS and DRS open down towards the line for Lawrence. What's it going to be? It's an 8.8. It is in the top 5, and that is an important lap from Lawrence to at least get himself within a touching distance, and he knows where he made the error, and that's the important thing. Alex is round at the final, or turn 13, I think that is, in the Aston Martin. What about Robsu? He's 2 tenths down in Sector 1. Scott coming to the line. He's 2 tenths down as well, so he's going to be coming into the pits. Mr. J-Man in the Ferrari. Very wide at turn 13 there. But according to the game, a purple Sector 2. We'll see how close he is to pole position. Coming down towards the line is the Belgian driver. What's it going to be? It's very good, actually, an 8.7, and it puts him into P3. Second row for Mr. J-Man, who's had a bit of a topsy-turvy season, and Tier just behind him improves to P3 in the meantime. But LB currently untouchable at the top. Robsu not really improving. Zuba is, though, 4.5 tenths up in the middle sector. Down towards the line he goes. Is it going to be an improvement in position? He's going to need a lot more than that across the line if he wants it to be. No, it's still P15, but a big improvement for Zuba. I'm just going to get Rick in the party. 1 second. Just blue screen you all. There we go. We have our very own Ted Kravitz now on the stream. So welcome in, Rick.
Thank you.
And glad you can join us for this thrilling Tier 2 finale, as most people heading into the pits are already there right now, as everyone winds up for the final runs of this qualifying session. MCL is one of them. He's coming through Sector 1, but he's invalidated on the exit of Turn 3, or entry of Turn 3, and I'm surprised he's still got his ERS on. Has he not realised that he's invalidated? He's got to turn it off so he can have a chance to go again. I'm surprised he's keeping it on that long. But Zuber and TTV Max, Zuber finished his previous lap. TTV Max trying again. He's 8/10 down on the rest of the pack at the moment, so he'll be hoping to improve that. Before this session it comes to a close. Only 3 minutes to go in it as he comes through Sector 1. Only a half-tenth, in fact half-tenth down on his previous best in that first sector, as Jonathan also on an outlap, the defending champion. He won't be the defending champion anymore after this race, unfortunately for him, but he'll be raring to go next season, I'm sure, and I'm sure he's got pace in him. It's just difficult not to invalidate around here, especially with no line. TTV Max, he's coming through Sector 2. Is he going to be improving? We've got Aces versus Kings on a lap as well, so I'll keep an eye on the Haas driver who's currently on the front row. TTV Max only a half a tenth up in Sector 2, so I don't think much is coming in the way of TTV Max pace, as Aces comes through the middle sector now, but he's backed off, so he's going to try again. Obviously, it did not get that Sector 1 hooked up in the way that he wanted to. Lawrence also on an outlap coming through turn 13 now, and he's right behind a Mercedes and a Haas when he's doing this. I think he must be going on a 2 outlaps again. Yeah, that must be what's happening. Yeah, he's not got his ERS on, so a double outlap from Lawrence again. 1 minute 57 seconds in this session. LB is on an outlap as well, the championship leader, looking to improve once again. On that already. Pole position time, Palang, a huge snap out of turn 4. That's lap over for him. What about Alex G in the Aston Martin, down in P8? We don't expect him to be that far down in qualifying usually this season. What can the Ukrainian driver do through Sector 1, Sector 2 rather? It's looking pretty hooked up so far, but a bit of a snap there on that exit, but not too bad as he comes through to the last couple of corners in this circuit. It's beautiful, beautiful track. Here he comes through the sector line. He's half a tenth up. It's not as much as he would have been hoping for. What about Aces? He's trying again. He's in Sector 2 at the moment. LB just starting his final run as well in the Alfa Romeo. What about Lawrence? He's not improving, but of course on his second outlap, so he's going to go for his final attempt now. DRS open down towards the line, and the championship challenger looking to improve. Alex did improve to P6 in the end, but nowhere near enough to challenge the front row. Aces versus Kings in the middle sector right now. Tia in the middle sector as well. Jack Alako is invalidated, so he's not going to improve. Palang in Sector 1, barely an improvement for him. Scott, Sumo, loads of people on laps. I can't keep up with everyone, but Jonathan's going to be the next to cross the line in the Aston Martin. He comes down. It looks like a clean lap finally for the Aston Martin driver, but it's only P12 for now for him. See how many places he goes down, if any, after all is said and done. Aces versus Kings coming to the line. MCL as well on an outlap, so he's going to be the last to cross the line by the looks of things. As here comes the Haas driver. Oh no, he's going for it again as well, and he's just in time. LB into the pits, so he's not going to improve. So that's the target, a 1 minute 8.4. Aces coming through Sector 1. What about Lawrence? He's coming down towards the line now in the Williams. It's looked pretty good. He's good on the ERS all the way down towards the line. What can Lawrence do? Can he unseat LB from pole? No, he crashes across the line, in fact, so clearly wasn't improving. It's going to be P8 at best for him. Disaster for Lawrence in this quali session. Mr. J-Man, he's improving by half a tenth in Sector 1. What about the middle sector? No, 3/10 down. So it's all on Aces, and he's messed up in the middle sector. So what can MCL do in the Alpine? Coming through the middle sector, he's slightly up on his previous best, a thousandth of a second, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. He had a huge snap on the exit of the final corner, though, so it could be a big improvement, even so. as he comes down towards the line. Can he do anything to challenge LB? No, but it is P3. It's a great final effort from MCL, but no one could challenge the championship leader, who will take pole position for the finale, and his main rival in P9. But we all know how crazy races around this track can be. It is going to be dry all the way, according to my sources, but we will see who can come away with this championship. LB in a very strong position. He's so far ahead on pace. Everyone else is so close. It's barely 0.2 between second and 10th, and then 2.5 between second and first. So a big margin for LB. So we're just waiting for Jonathan to get into the pits. Rick, any insights on that quali session?
Not really. I didn't get to see much of it as I don't have an invite. But
oh, sorry, I didn't invite you to the lobby.
It's fine. LB was 0.2 off the lap record, but those were set in the lap records in Tier 1 and Elite were both partially wet, so they could have gone quicker. But to be 0.2 off it's a great sign for LB.
It certainly is, and he takes pole position for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Aces versus Kings on the front row with him, with continuing his fantastic run of late. MCL in Tier 3 and 4, Tier all the way up there. Mr. J-Man as well, good to see him in the top 5. Jackalacco, Alex, Palang, Lawrence down in P9. He's got a lot of work to do. Scott in P10, then Robsu, Jonathan, JB, Sumo, Krauser all the way down in 15th, and then Zuba and TTV Max make up the back of this big, very exciting grid.
You can send me an invite.
Yes,
please.
Yes, I can.
Cheers.
So, as we wait on the grid, no problem. For lights out, let's take you through some championship permutations. So LB is 3 points ahead of Lawrence coming into this finale. So if LB finishes first or second with the fastest lap, there's nothing Lawrence can do, and LB will win the title. But if LB finishes second all the way down to fourth with fastest lap, then Lawrence would need to win the race to win the title. And then fourth, Lawrence would need second. Sixth and below, Lawrence would need third, and there's some weird permutations because of the fastest lap point that I won't go through everything, but I will keep you updated as the race goes on, and I'll also keep you updated on the constructors' standings because it's very close there as well. Alfa Romeo on 210 points, Williams on 202 going into this finale, so both championships could easily go either way. But 36 laps of Brazil are going to decide them. Sumo and Zuba both getting disqualified from the formation lap. So they'll have to start with cold tyres on the grid as LB leads the pack through the fantastic track here in Brazil. Absolutely love racing here, love commentating here. It's always drama filled and it's always great fun, and I'm very much looking forward to this. I hope you are too as well in the audience. But we'll see how everything concludes. LB just leading the pack through. Let's have a quick look at tyres. So most of the grid, actually it's pretty even split between mediums and hards. Lawrence, interestingly, is one of the ones starting on the hard tyre, and LB, one of the ones starting on the mediums. So different strategies between the two title rivals, and also a split in strategy for both championship rival teams, with Jacko on mediums and Lawrence on hards, and then Robsu on hards, but LB on mediums. So interesting strategy choices up and down the grid here. But we're about to get going. I'm just going to do a quick helmet review on TTV Max because we haven't seen him for ages, and I'll get to Zuba as well, hopefully. I can't switch to him right now because he's disqualified, but TTV Max, it's a pretty nice helmet, I've got to say, in that AlphaTauri. I will give him, you know what, I'll give him a 9 for that one. That's a pretty nice helmet, TTV Max, so well done. Even if you're qualifying 17th today, at least you get a good helmet score. But anyway, LB leading everyone round to the grid. Here we go. 17 cars for the Tier 2 finale. Who's going to win the title? Will it be LB? Will it be Lawrence? We're about to find out after 36 laps. So here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's a fantastic start from LB from pole position as he goes into turn 1 in P1, but gets a bit on the grass, and he's gone very wide. And Aces versus Kings with a great run on the exit, and Aces now leads. Palang is out of the race already, and we do have an early VSC just after turn 3. Tier is in P3. We've got Jacko and Mr. J-Man swapping positions as well as they work out who was in front, but Aces taking the opportunity there from LB's error in turn 1. That could have been a lot worse for the Alfa Romeo driver. It really could have. Getting on the grass there is no joke. But now he knows not to do that again. But it is Aces now who leads the Grand Prix. And LB is going to have to fight from behind, but he is still doing enough. As long as he finishes ahead of Lawrence in this race, that is it. There's nothing Lawrence can do. Lawrence has to finish ahead of him and gain 3 points. Gain 4 points because LB wins on countback regardless. We've got green flagged, so as they come through at the end of the middle sector, LB trying to get the run on Aces but has to back out before the final actual corner on the track. And Aces will lead lap 1 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Tier and MCL just behind as well. Tier with some fantastic pace in that Red Bull today. Let's see if he can unlock it, as Alex has lost a lot of time to the others under that VSC, and Lawrence looking to take full advantage. He goes round the outside of the Ukrainian, gets it stopped for turn 1, and he's up to P7, and now he's going to try and chase after the drivers ahead, the top 6, who are nose to tail right now. Sorry about the gaps on the left-hand side as LB goes down the inside of Aces for the lead of this race. Aces holds it round the outside though. Great driving from the Haas driver and maintains the lead of this Grand Prix as Sumo's gone round in sector 1 further back. But Aces have gone very, very deep there in turn 5. Could be an opportunity for LB, but he's not going to send it there. That would be foolhardy from the championship leader when all he needs to do is finish ahead of Lawrence today. But talking of Lawrence, he really needs to catch up to this train before he loses the DRS, because it will be enabled at the start of the next lap. He's very, very close. It's within just about within 1 second now. Can he get there? It's going to be enabled, and the activation point, or the detection point I should say, is at turn 2. So we'll see if he can make it. But here comes LB now down towards turn 1. He's only got 50% ERS left, but so does Aces as they head all the way down. The straight line speed for LB pretty strong, but not strong enough to cope with Aces there as they go through, but he's going to have DRS down towards turn 4. It is enabled now. He's using that ERS as they come around turn 3. Here they go. Can LB retake the lead of this Grand Prix? He looks to the inside. Aces is going to defend against him. Round the outside he goes, but LB takes the position and Aces is off. Aces trying to hold the outside line, and he's spun all the way round nearly, but he's back on the track, but had to take the Verstappen line at turn 4, and now he's all the way down to P7 and got a lot of work to do to catch back up to that top 6, which Lawrence is now in. So he has managed to catch up, and it's LB who leads this race once again, but Tier is right behind and DRS is enabled. So we'll see if the Red Bull driver can make a pass into turn 1 or turn 4. Here we go through the final real braking zone of the circuit. as LB has got 50% ERS, so does Tier. It's going to be DRS for the Red Bull driver. Let's look at the straight line speed. Look at the closing speed down towards turn 1. I think Tier's going to make a dive for P1 here as they head down towards the corner. Tier on the inside, LB on the outside. There's a bit of a touch as but LB makes an error on the exit of turn 2, and Tier's going to have another go here down towards turn 4. I think he's going to make this move for the lead, and MCL's looking for a way through as well. LB gives up both positions. He's down to P3. Tier and MCL side by side through turn 4. MCL forced wide. I think he just understeered wide, and now LB down the inside of Tier for up the hill. Can he make this move through turn 5 and 6? MCL trying to find his way down the inside. This could end in tears, but somehow it hasn't. They've all gotten through safely, and wow, that could have been very, very bad. And TTV Max is now out of this race, and we do have a safety car at the early stage of this Grand Prix. TTV Max out after 3.5 laps of his first race back in APP for a long, long time. So that is sad to see, but it does mean Sumo is back in the race, among others. And Tier is going to lead this Grand Prix at the safety car, but is he going to come into the pits? That's the question. Do you pit at this stage? Is it too early for an early pit stop? Tier and LB both think so, as does MCL and Jacko as well. No one coming in, apart from Aces versus Kings. Into the pits comes the Haas driver. A very early stop. Alex as well, getting rid of those hard tyres. He does not like them. Going for the double mediums, perhaps. Krauser gets a 5-second penalty for speeding under the safety car. That's got to hurt. Aces onto the hards. Alex for a new front wing, I think he had, and some medium tyres. And then Krauser with some medium tyres as well, going for the double medium strategy. And we'll see if it works out for them, but it does cost them a lot of track position all the way down to the back. 15 cars remaining in this Grand Prix, so everyone who finishes will score points from this moment onwards. It's points for the top 15 in APPF1. It goes 20, then 16, then 14, then 12, then 11, 10, 9, all the way down to 15th place. But it has been quite a while since we last saw Tier leading a Grand Prix in Tier 2 on merit. Of course, last season he was just a couple of points away from taking the title, so it's surprising that it's taken this long this season for Tier to get back to his old self. But hopefully this is the start of Tier getting back up to speed for next season, and he'll mount another title challenge. We would love to see it. But LB is going to look to deny him a first victory for a while, as the Alfa Romeo driver looks to take the title. Lawrence is up to P6 in the meantime. He's worked those hard tyres pretty well at this stage, made up 3 positions, and continues to chase after his title rival, who is 4 places up the road. He should be able to see him just ahead going through turn 2, so some motivation for the British driver who has never won an APPF1 title. He should have done many a time in Tier 2, but always seems to just lose it near to the end of the season. Well, he'll be hoping for that this season is not a repeat of that, as after that crash in Baku he was despondent last week, just sacrificing an 18-point lead, and now he has got it all to do here in Brazil, but another 30 laps to do it, as the safety car should be coming in this lap. Krauser should have time to catch up after another pit stop for some fresh mediums, as everyone files through sector 2. But it is Tier who leads this race. Let's have a quick look at Zuba's helmet in the meantime. Oh, it's a default helmet. Zuba, no, no. 0 out of 10. I can't believe it. I feel so betrayed. Unbelievable. What's a driver if not just a helmet in a car? Exactly, Louis. That's what we like to see in this channel. That is the mentality of the G Ghost commentary channel. But Tier 727 leads this race, and he will decide when to punch it. We'll ride on board with the championship leader as he looks to get an advantage, but Tier's gone very early. Looks like he's caught LB off guard here. He's using the ERS, but MCL's right behind, looking for a way past into turn 1. It looks to the inside briefly, but thinks against it. Nearly goes into the back of the championship leader as Lawrence makes the move on Mr. J-Man through turn 1. They're side by side through turn 2 and turn 3, and Lawrence is up to P5. What a move from the British driver as he looks to retake a top 5 position, and he has done that. Jonathan down to P9. There's positions changing all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on. MCL's got a track limits penalty already as Jonathan and Robsu fight for P8 in the meantime. Robsu down the inside of the Aston Martin driver, but he can't get the job done as Lawrence now looks to get past MCL in the second sector. A bit of a oversteer moment there through that corner, but just about holds on to it. And still top 5 as MCL gets a huge rear lockup, and Lawrence tries to take advantage but can't quite get the traction he needs through that corner, and is going to have to wait for another moment to get past this Alpine who looks to be struggling. He's gotten a track limits penalty, and that's not the first mistake he's made on this lap alone. Here comes Lawrence. He's going to look to the outside of the Alpine driver as they go hurtling down towards turn 1. LB right behind Tier as well, but it's Lawrence up to P4. He started P9 on this grid. What a drive it's been so far in these first 8 laps, but he's still got a long way to go on those hard tyres as LB sticks behind Tier. He's not taking any risks in that Alfa Romeo. He knows what he has to do, but he's going to be a little bit disconcerted seeing his title rival just 2 spots behind him now after he started 8 spots ahead on the grid. And the track almost looks greasy. It's weird. So it's no wonder the drivers are struggling for grip. It does look like the track is in a strange condition at the moment in this Grand Prix. And so some difficulties for the drivers, maybe track temperature playing a part. MCL locks the rears again at the same corner. DRS should be enabled at the start of the next lap as Alex makes his way past JB for P11 in the Aston Martin as he continues his recovery. But here comes LB on the Red Bull. Still no DRS enabled, and Tier streaks ahead with ERS, but he's used a lot of it. LB's still got plenty in the tank as Jacko just behind looks to fight him, looking to be a rear gunner for his teammate Lawrence to try and put some pressure on LB, but going deep at turn 1 is not going to help that case. And now here comes LB. He's going to have the DRS. He's using the ERS through turn 3. Can he make the move into turn 4? I'm not sure. No, he stays behind him as Jack Alaco nearly a second behind there as they go through. He's got to try and stick with these top 2. He cannot afford to lose DRS at this stage. As Tier continues to lead this race just about from the championship leader. He's going to be conflicted here, is the Red Bull driver. He doesn't want to take out the championship leader in the final race of the season, but he also really wants to win this race, I'm sure, after it's been a bit of a torrid season for him in general. But LB right behind, and he's going to have the DRS down towards turn 1. I think this is going to be job done very shortly, but Jacko's not too far behind. He still does have the DRS. MCL's still in this fight as well as Scott's losing it, and Jonathan's lost it in the final corner of the circuit all the way down. Sumo as well. I'm not sure what happened to him, but here comes LB down the inside of the Red Bull driver. Tier tries to fight him through, but tries to get the switchback on the exit. That will have been a track limit warning for sure at turn 2. He's close behind down towards turn 4, but not close enough. LB is going to use all the ERS to keep him behind, but Tier looks to the inside and sends it into turn 4. Oh my goodness, he goes for it. I did not expect that at all, and it's going to be side by side all the way up the hill. LB's got the inside line. Can Tier do anything here on the race leader? No, he can't. He can't get the switchback either. Round the outside, tries for the inside, but can't quite do it, and Jack Alaco is able to catch back up. Lawrence going very deep just behind and just about survives an attack from MCL as a result. But still in this battle, which is where he needs to be, but looks pretty shaky out there on these hard tyres. But the good thing for him is he'll be able to get the mediums on later. and chase after the leaders as Mr. J-Man's gone round in the Ferrari at turn 12 by the looks of it. Disaster for him. That is such a shame. But here comes Jack Alacco on tier now, using the ERS. Down the inside of the Red Bull goes the Scottish driver, and he now looks to try and challenge LB. MCL going down the inside of Lawrence as well in the background. He's made the move back up to P4, and Lawrence loses a place at a crucial stage in this race. But now Jack Alacco is on the back of LB. He's got the DRS. And no mistakes from here on out for the Scottish driver. He's got to pile the pressure on the championship leader, and a little error like that from LB is not going to help his case. Just ahead of the Williams, as Jacko has got 2 championships to fight for. He wants to help Lawrence win the drivers, but also wants to win the constructors. And at the moment, Williams are doing enough, I believe. They're only 5 points behind. And yeah, it'll be close, I think. No, they're not doing enough right now, actually. They're only gaining 1 or 2 points on Alfa Romeo, but a change for the lead would change that entire dynamic. It's an 8-point swing between them if Jacko can overtake LB here. Lap 11 of 36. Lawrence is back with the pack, but he has fallen off the back of MCL a bit, still really struggling on those hard tyres. And now LB is going to be under pressure from Jack Alacco. Down the inside he goes. We've got yellow flags at Mr. J-Man round at the final corner, but Jacko takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix as Tier fights with MCL. MCL up to P3 in the background. Jacko's going to be under pressure down towards turn 4 now, though, as LB has the DRS, but there's nothing he can do against the straight line speed of that Williams, or is there? He sends it to the inside, taking all the risks as the championship leader, and has to back out just in the nick of time. But it's Jack Alacco who now leads the Grand Prix. I think we're going to get plenty more lead changes today as Lawrence tries to stick with these top 4. All this battling really helping him out as he's still struggling on those hards compared to the mediums in front of him. And Scott, in fact, in this battle, both Hasses have caught up as a result of all this. And Krauser in the train behind him might be able to catch up too at this rate as Alex continues his recovery up the grid. And LB here right behind Jack Alacco. I'm not sure there's much that Jack's going to be able to do. Tears round, though. No, sorry, that was someone else. That was Scott round at the final corner. And Tears going to go on the move on Lawrence as Jack Alacco gets passed by LB for the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. MCL is there as well to try and make a move, but he does have that 3-second track limits penalty. I wonder how many more of those are going to come into play today. Here goes Jacko. DRS enabled, ERS enabled. He's going to put the pressure on LB. The championship leader's not going to be given an easy ride by the Williams rear gunner as Jacko gets a poor exit though, and LB expertly switches him back. MCL tries the same. They go side by side all the way up the hill, but Jacko just about holds on as there's another car round in sector 1. I think that's Jonathan in the Aston Martin. Yeah, because Alex is up to P7 now. But Jack Alacco down to second place, but these three battling very, very hard at this stage. Lawrence has fallen off the back of them, which could be difficult for him in terms of keeping Tier behind if he doesn't have the DRS, but Tier's falling off as well at this stage in the race. And Aces is looking to get himself back in it after his spin early on in the Grand Prix from the lead of the race. But here we go again, down towards turn 1. Who's going to be leading into turn 1 this time? It looks like it's going to be LB. Jacko not pushing to overtake him this time. But the closing speed is immense from the Scottish driver as Aces makes his way past here, round the outside of turn 1. They're going to be side by side through the centre S's, but he's made the move. And Aces up to P5 unless Tier can switch him back with the DRS. But I think it's going to be job done for Aces as he has DRS from Lawrence ahead as well. Jack Alacco not able to make a move on LB through there. But I wonder if he can get behind him again with the DRS at the start of the next lap. A little wide though there at turn 6 is not going to help as Mr. J-Man sets the fastest lap on fresh medium tyres at the back after pitting earlier on. Sumo and Jonathan fighting it out for P13 as well further back as MCL chases down Jack Alacco, who's lost a lot of time to LB on this lap. The pole position driver and the championship leader stretching his legs now at the front of this field. And in fact, Jackalacco has lost DRS to the Alfa Romeo driver, and that is very, very poor for his teammate, but he's dived into the pits as a result. He's realized he's out the DRS, he's got to do something now, and he's pitted early on for the hard tires to try and mount a challenge to LB later on, because he's definitely gonna undercut him at this rate. It's the undercut big at this circuit, and LB leads by 1.2 seconds as Aces now gets his way past Lawrence up to P3, and he continues to chase after the top two. He's only less than 3 seconds behind LB after all of that, and Aces very much still in the conversation for this race win as Mr. J-Man sets another fastest lap at the front of the field. Track always looks like it's covered in water / oil no matter the weather, which is weird because the grip is great here. Yeah, it's I'm not sure. It is a bit odd, especially through those corners. It does. I think the rendering is just a bit off from Codemasters there, but anyway, Lawrence coming through. Aces chasing after those top two, but he's going to drag Lawrence along with him as long as the Williams driver has the DRS, and that's what Lawrence wants. As now Jonathan gets himself a 3-second time penalty at the back of the grid. Tia also coming in, responding to Jacko. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Is that Alex? No, it's Jonathan round again. Unfortunately, he's having a horrible time. And I think he just wants this season to be over as Tia exits the pits on the hard tyres. But where's Jackalacco? He's coming down towards turn 1 now. I think he's going to be ahead of the Red Bull driver. Well ahead. And that switch, that undercut working very nicely for the Scottish driver. He is well ahead of Tia as they go down towards turn 4, and he's going to hope that the undercut is good enough to get him ahead of LB when the race leader does eventually come into the pits. MCL is challenging though. He's going to be disappointed in himself getting that 3-second time penalty so early on in this Grand Prix. Going a little bit wide though is not going to help his case there. 9 tenths behind. It's going to be close for the DRS as we've got more yellow flags. Jonathan round again and into the wall at turn 2, loses his front wing, but no safety car thankfully. MCL is going to get the DRS, but I think he's going to come into the pits. No, he stays out. It's always tricky to tell with the very close to the inside line he takes there. But Aces is doing what Lawrence wants him to do. He's dragging Lawrence up to the top 2, which is exactly what the Williams driver needs, as he's on a totally different strategy to the pole position man. Alex as well, 3.5 seconds behind. He's got a very good chance of getting himself in this fight for the race win. He is a long way behind at the moment, but all he needs is a safety car or some battling to happen ahead of him. He's got clear track in front of him, so a lot of opportunity for the Ukrainian driver, who's had a torrid season in terms of race pace, or not race pace, but race consistency this season. He did win in Monza. It was a spectacular win. He got it at the final corner from Lawrence. But didn't manage since then, hasn't managed to continue his good form as that Zuba round in the AlphaTauri in the middle sector, further back down in P12. Jonathan into the pits again. Not again, into the pits for the first time this race for a set of the hard tyres, I assume, as MCL is now close enough to the back of LB to start thinking about looking to the inside, but can't quite make the move at this stage. DRS open down towards turn 4. LB still staying out, as is MCL, but here comes the Spanish driver. Down the inside he goes. I don't imagine LB will fight this particularly hard because there's a lot at stake for him, and MCL is ahead into the lead of this race for the first time. As they go through turn 5, LB nearly alongside, but not quite, as he goes all the way to the inside. That's one way to lose the car. It's a miracle he held on to that, and he had to hold on to that as well. A big slide, and those tyres starting to get a little bit on the worn side for these two. MCL, he's locking the rears into that corner so often. That's the 3rd time I've seen him do it this race. And LB A little bit of grass there going into the corner, and that's caused him to understeer wide. And I wonder if the championship leader is going to head into the pits here. He's clearly struggling. They're falling into the clutches of the hard tyre runners behind. LB does dive in very, very late into the pits, but just about gets in, and now MCL is going to be under pressure from Aces and Lawrence behind as LB goes for the undercut on his Alpine rival for this race. And of course that 3-second penalty could be very, very important. As here comes Jackalacco down the main straight towards turn 1. He's going to be well ahead of LB as they go through. There's the Alfa Romeo driver. You can see him on the right-hand side of the screen. Jackalacco through turn 3. He's well ahead. And in fact, here's ahead of the championship leader as well. A 4-lap undercut for Jackalacco. 3 laps for Tia. It's worked wonders, and they're both ahead of the championship leader out of the pits, and they're all 3 of them on similar tyres, although Jacko and Tia will be struggling a little more earlier, but I think towards the end of the race those tyres are going to be fairly similar, I think. Unless Jacko and Tia start to get into the puncture territory. But Lawrence and Aces really stretching their legs now, especially this man Lawrence, as he fights for position here. He really needs to win this race, does Lawrence. His LB doesn't look like he's in any mood to drop it today, as MCL finally comes into the pits, the last of the medium runners to do so, who've been there on from the start. Alex as well, staying out. I'm sure he's going to go medium, so he'll go mediums to the end as well. In a couple of laps, I would expect him to pit, maybe even this lap. But MCL exits the pits. Is he going to be ahead or behind LB? That's the question. I think well behind, as LB is already coming through turn 2 now and turn 3. And yeah, MCL quite a way behind. The undercut has worked for LB. He's gotten rid of this Alpine, who had a bit of a slide coming out the pits as well, which isn't going to help either. 1.5 seconds behind the Alfa Romeo driver, but given his pace today in the race, I wouldn't be surprised to see that come all the way back down again. But it is Jackalacco in the net lead of this Grand Prix right now. 1 second ahead of Tia. It's very, very close for the DRS. And talking of DRS, Lawrence is about to get it on Aces. He's been on these hard tyres since the start of the Grand Prix. I wonder when he's going to come into the pits. It's going to be this lap for the medium tyres. Don't get a speeding penalty. Lawrence, he's done it. He's gotten a speeding penalty. No, Lawrence, that is a critical error from Lawrence. And it's just, again, it's all about these margins, and Lawrence, just at the ends of seasons, just tends to lose his cool under the pressure. Out the pits he comes. He's going to be well behind LB, and he's going to have a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. MCL's ahead of him as well, and Lawrence, with it all to do, he's going to be desperately hoping for a safety car now in this race. As Tia round the outside of Jackalacco, unexpectedly at turn 4. He's now into the net lead of this Grand Prix. Jacko right behind him, and LB right behind both of them as they fight through the middle sector. But it's not enough for Jackalacco at this point. LB very down, very close to the inside there at that corner, but doesn't make the move. And I wonder if that would have been a track limits warning as well. Rick, if you're still here, could you check the track limits warnings of LB and see how many he has? That would be much appreciated.
On it.
Thank you very much.
As of now, LB has 2. And
2.
Lawrence has none.
Lawrence has none, so advantage Lawrence in terms of track limits, but he does have that 5-second speeding penalty as LB goes to the inside of his teammate now into turn 1, makes the move stick. Jackalacco's going to try and switch him back on the exit, but there's nothing he can do because LB's going to have the DRS now from Tia ahead, and he's going to look to get himself back into the net race lead here, down the inside of the Red Bull driver. It's done before the corner. Tia cannot do anything as they break for turn 4, and LB up to P4. It's a net P1 as they now chase after Krauser, who pitted fairly early in the race. And LB is going to get the DRS off him as well. It's just dreamland for this man right now as he looks for his 3rd Tier 2 title. Alex G, 6 seconds behind us. LB's already passed Krauser. I didn't even see it. He must have sent it on the McLaren driver at an unexpected place, and it's worked wonders for him because he's now well ahead of Tier and Jacko as they both fight to get past. Tier down the inside, but the damage is already done. They've lost DRS for LB. They're nearly 2 seconds behind as Lawrence now fights his way past. Up to P4 goes the Williams driver, and he's just 1 place behind his rival now, but with a 5-second pit lane speeding penalty as Tier now under pressure from Jackalacco behind. He's in a Williams sandwich. But he's just about holds on to P5 for now as Krauser finally into the pits for another set of mediums, and he's going to exit well behind these guys as now MCL to the inside of the other Williams and makes the move stick. Tier very wide on the exit of turn 4 just ahead, but MCL up to P6 as he continues to fight for this race. Lawrence 1.3 behind LB. He's on the better tyres as well at this stage, but that was probably a track limits warning there. He was all the way on the inside of that corner. And he has got a lot of work to do, but he's going to be looking to get in the DRS range already on this lap. Can he do it? It's going to be very close. He's using the ERS to try it, but I think he might have to wait until the next lap. Ace is into the pits as well, finally from the lead. So he's going to exit well behind these guys, but on much better, fresher tyres. So it will be interesting to see if he can catch up. Did Lawrence get the DRS? He did! Wow! Somehow managed to get it. Must have gotten so much traction on the last corner. And the 2 title rivals are P1 and 2 in the right order as well. As Lawrence a bit of a snap on the exit of turn 2, but just about keeps it together. They're 1.5 seconds clear of MCL. It's all about LB and Lawrence. They started 8 places between them on the grid today, but on lap 24 of 36, it's 2/10 between them as they head through sector 2. Lawrence right on the tail of his rival. LB is going to fight him tooth and nail as Lawrence has a little look to the inside just to give LB a little scare. Robsu getting a 3-second time penalty as well in P9 further back as Williams look to put a stranglehold on the Constructors title. They're still not doing enough right now though, especially with Lawrence's penalty. But here comes the Williams driver down round the final corner, and this is surely going to be job done down towards turn 1. LB's got much more ERS in the tank, but Lawrence has got the DRS, and he's got a point to prove as they head down towards the first corner. He's using the ERS. He's going to look to the inside. LB leaves it open. Lawrence down the inside of his title rival, and he makes the move stick up to P1 for Lawrence, but he's going to be so annoyed about that track limits penalty, and it's not over yet. LB is going to have the DRS down towards turn 4 as they fight for the title. Lawrence with the ERS dropping off. He can see the flashing red light on the back, can LB. He knows Lawrence is vulnerable, but there's nothing he can do. Lawrence with much better traction on those mediums. They're nearly touching as they head up the hill, but LB has to back out into turn 5. Lawrence ahead and just about taking the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, but for how long? He's got to use those mediums to the full effect now and hope for more mistakes like that from LB, because at the moment he's going to be under huge pressure on the straight. He's got no ERS left. LB knows it as well because he let his ERS go down to 10%. So LB is fully aware that his rival is vulnerable, and here he comes again down towards turn 1, but MCL's there as well. He's going to look to join this party. It's not all about these two. MCL wants to get involved as well. Here comes LB round the outside of his rival as they head down towards turn 1. Lawrence sends it to the inside though as they go side by side through turns 1 and 2. LB stays ahead as Lawrence is going to have the DRS down to 4, but he's not got enough battery left, surely, as they head down towards the corner, but he's going to go for it anyway down the inside of his title rival once again. Has he overcooked it? Maybe. No, he hasn't. He gets it stopped. LB can't get the switch back, but he knows again. He can see the flashing red light. He knows Lawrence is vulnerable on the straights. I cannot catch my breath in this Grand Prix. Lawrence leads from LB, but he's got the 5-second penalty to contend with. Tier now gets himself another time penalty. He's up to 6 seconds now in the Red Bull and will drop a fair number of positions as it stands. And I've no idea who's winning the Constructors as it stands. I don't have the time to work out the maths at this stage. We've still got 11 laps to go in this race. Anything can happen at Brazil. We can get a late safety car and it will put Lawrence right back in this, but LB is going to have the DRS. He's going to go around the outside of the Williams driver once again. Lawrence squeezing him to the inside, looks to send it on the inside. LB sees him coming. There's a bit of contact between the two, but Lawrence keeps it together. They both keep it together. No love lost here as MCL is just looking for a way past. He wants to win this race as well, but he needs LB to get that track limits penalty to have a chance. Lawrence sends it to the inside again. There's contact between the title rivals. LB is sent round. He comes back on the track, nearly hits Lawrence on his way back, but Lawrence is into the lead. These two are not fond of each other on this track at this point, and Lawrence is back into the lead. MCL nearly bins it on the exit of turn 6, but somehow manages to keep it together, and these top three now are joined by Tier and Jacko and Aces. Thanks to all of this battling, Alex is 9 seconds behind. That's a surprise. He must have made a mistake somewhere, as now Aces tries to find his way past the other Williams of Jackalacco for P5. But it's all about LB and Lawrence at the front. LB, he's going to have the DRS, and he's still got the ERS advantage on this Williams, and Lawrence knows it. He sends LB to the inside. There's nothing he can do, though. As soon as LB presses that overtake button, Lawrence is powerless to stop him going past into turn 1, and LB back into the lead of the Grand Prix as Lawrence tries to fight him through, but that lack of ERS really costing him at this stage. He's using all of it to try and make a move into turn 4, but he's going to regret it. He's used it all. He nearly goes into the back of his rival at turn 4. That was so close. You could fit a hair between the two of them there, but just about getting away with it as they head through the middle sector for the 28th time. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. This is fantastic, aggressive battling. It's great to watch. I'm sure LV isn't happy in the cockpit, but it must be good fun as Lawrence sends it again into the middle sector and gets the move done. LB a little squirrely on the exit, and MCL finds his way through as a result. Up to P2, and now Lawrence is going to be under pressure for the race lead from MCL instead of his title rival as they head down towards turn 1. LB has got 50% ERS left. MCL's got plenty as well, but LB with the straight line speed tries to go around the outside of the Alpine but can't quite do it. They're both catching up to Lawrence very fast as they head towards turn 1. No move made by either of them. LB sends it all the way around the outside, nearly loses on the exit, of 2 as well, but just about holds it together. Aces is there just behind them to try and take some points off LB as well. As they head towards turn 4, LB onto the grass as they break for turn 4. MCL and LB side by side. LB forces the Alpine driver off as they head down towards turn 4 and through. And now Aces versus Kings trying to go around the outside. MCL just about holds on. I cannot keep track of what's going on. I've got to keep track of dynamic camera, but it keeps giving me awful camera views of the backs of cars. So that's why I'm using the onboards all the time. But LB now, he's got to stay with his title rival of Lawrence. The top two, still the top two in the championship, but Lawrence again at that time penalty. He is going to be kicking himself if it loses him this championship, which it just might. MCL right behind LB looking for this race win still. LB running out of ERS now. He's used a lot in all of these battles, but he's going to try and make the move on Lawrence again. Lawrence has still got nothing left in the tank as LB round the outside of his title rival into turn 1. They're side by side for the umpteenth time in this race. There's a bit of contact. LB nearly loses it in turn 2, and but MCL just about avoids going into the back of him as here comes the Alpine down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, but LB's using the ERS to go down the inside of Lawrence instead. Lawrence under pressure from MCL now as well, tries to get the switchback. They're side by side up the hill again. I'm losing my voice already as they head down towards turn 4. It's 5 cars, 6 cars all fighting for this race win. Tears all the way off. Lawrence sends spins it into turn 6. I cannot keep up with this. They're side by side again. Lawrence all the way around the outside, but has to back out on the exit. Can he send it again on the inside of the next corner? Yes, he does. And he makes the move again this time. LB down to P2 again. MCL's right there. Lawrence just making it as difficult as possible for LB. All it takes is one incident and LB will lose this title. Lancer, I'm trying. This is absolutely unbelievable, this racing. As here comes LB again. He's going to have the DRS. He knows Lawrence is vulnerable once again. As they head down towards turn 1, uses the ERS. In the middle of the straight, there's 4 wide down towards turn 1. Lawrence under pressure from 3 cars now. LB retakes the lead. Lawrence side by side with MCL in turn 2 and 3. MCL's going to have the DRS as well down towards turn 4, but so will Lawrence. Ace is trying to find his way through as well. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 4 on the championship contenders. Lawrence keeps P2 for now. MCL and Aces somehow don't come together. Jacko's there as well. This is the best racing and Tier 2 has had all season long. Absolutely unbelievable here in Sao Paulo. Tier tries to go down the inside of Jacko in the meantime, but can't quite do it. But again, it's all about that penalty for Lawrence that he's got on his head. Just so you guys know, unless one of them spins out, as LB nearly does exactly that, must have locked the rears or something into that corner, lets Lawrence through, but he's again going to have to DRS down towards turn 1. MCL right behind though, and LB is going to come under a lot of pressure here because he's running out of ERS. So is MCL, so is Aces, and everyone in this battle is running out of battery. MCL now to the inside of the championship leader as they head towards turn 1. LB makes it 3 wide, brakes very, very late for turn 1, somehow gets it stopped. MCL braked very early. Lawrence lets his title rival through turn 2, but he's going to have the run on him down towards turn 4. It doesn't matter that he doesn't have ERS. He's round the outside, but LB could shove him off here. He could do a Verstappen as they head towards the corner. There's contact again. Lawrence is sent very, very deep, and LB is under pressure from MCL, who sends it down the inside of turn 5. LB's got the inside of the next corner up the hill, but he can't make the move. And oh my goodness, nearly loses on the exit. Hits the back of MCL. Could that be damage to the championship leader? There's no visible damage to the Alfa Romeo though. There's 4.5 laps left to go in this race. I cannot keep up with what's happening here. Alex has gained 5 seconds on this pack because of all of this battling, and he could still join the battle before the end here. It's all kicking off in the final few laps of this race. It's been kicking off for the last 10 laps. As they all head towards turn 1 again for the 33rd time. Aces versus Kings right behind LB, looking to make the move on the championship leader. Round the outside of turn 1, it's going to be 3 wide again into turn 1 as MCL keeps them honest. As Aces round the outside of LB, but there's contact. LB hits the back of him. Was there damage to LB again? No, he's gotten away with it somehow. As Jacko and Tier now battle, but Aces is out of this race for the win. Lap 33 of 36. MCL right behind Lawrence. LB 1.3 down, but he doesn't need to be close because they've both got penalties ahead of him. Tier and Jacko there as well, and I think if anything this helps LB to not be as far behind. To be far behind rather, not be so close but in all these battles, because all he needs to do is stay where he is right now. Everyone around him has a track limits or pit lane speeding penalty, and again Lawrence is going to feel that pit lane speeding penalty could cost him this title. It certainly is at the moment as it stands. But I just so you guys know, unless someone spins it out of Lawrence and LB, I am not calling this title today. I'm not going to say LB is the champion or Lawrence is the champion as they cross the line, because I know there's going to be some stewards' inquiries after this one, for absolutely certain. 3 laps to go in the final race of APPF1 in 2023. Before the Christmas jumper race on Friday. Tune in for that, by the way. I'll be streaming that on Twitch. I'll be racing in it, but it will be commentated. It's just a fun race. We all get our Christmas liveries on, so do tune in for that. But Everyone in APPF1, welcome to racing that as LB goes around the outside of MCL. There's contact between the two in turn 5. How many times has LB made contact with another driver today? And yet, he does not seem to have any damage somehow. He's gotten away with so much today as they go through the middle sector. LB tries to switch MCL back and get the better exit through. Lawrence now has a 1.8 second lead. It's nowhere near enough though. Jonathan gets a penalty for speeding further back in P15 as MCL makes a huge error. LB with a beautiful switchback maneuver, but they're both slowing down for the DRS, and this could really cost them in terms of Lawrence being able to streak away. LB losing out to Jacko as well. He has really made a mess of this one. He's lost 3 positions down towards turn 1. They're 3 wide just ahead of him. Who's going to come out on front here? And there's contact. Tears round. LB somehow again doesn't have damage, or does he? Spins it on turn 2. Still no visible damage on the Alfa Romeo somehow. But look at the gap. Look at the gap at the front. Lawrence is 5 seconds in front of LB. I'm going to switch this to gap to leader. LB 4.9 seconds ahead behind, and Jacko and MCL are doing this for Lawrence right now. He still needs a little bit more. It's 3/10 that Lawrence needs to win this title. Provisionally, as LB sends it on the inside of MCL. He's getting so desperate, and he's gotten a 3-second track limits penalty. As a result, he is absolutely desperate for this 3rd title. He can feel it slipping away in these final few laps. Just 2 laps ago, even 1 lap ago, he looked so comfortable at the lead of this race. On penalties, it looked like he was going to take this title comfortably, but now we head on to the final lap, and he's 6 seconds behind his title rival with 2 seconds more of only 2 seconds fewer penalties. And LB, he's just lost out. He's lost his head with MCL, with the DRS games. They've lost so much time, and LB lost so many positions, and he's 5.8 behind. He's desperate. He's got no ERS left, but it looks like the job could be done. Aces versus Kings gets a penalty for speeding and retires as MCL goes down the inside of LB, and he is out. He spins round. LB loses position as well, and he's down to P4. Alex is into the podium. What a comeback for him. And what a story it's been for him this season. Back onto the podium in the final race of the season on the final lap. Robsu gets a time penalty. It's all happening. I have no idea what's happening anymore. Lawrence, though, he's coming through the final few corners. His title rival is 8 seconds behind. Somehow it's all come out for Lawrence here in these final few laps. The title swing, the pendulum has swung so many times today, but it's Lawrence comes out the final corner provisionally before stewards. He is the champion of Tier 2 in Season 9. Jack Alaco comes from in P2. It's going to be P3 after the penalty. Alex into P2. What a drive for him. Scott finishes P4 somehow after all of that. I have no idea where he came from. LB down in P5. He is going to be absolutely furious. Tier down in P6. MCL finishes P7 after that last second dive on LB. JB and Crozer P8 and 9 for McLaren. Sumo finishes in the top 10 in the end. Mr. J-Man, Robsu and Zuba 13th. And by the way, Williams win the Constructors. That is for sure. I will call that because there's no way they lose the Constructors here. So great drive from both Lawrence and Jacko to take the Constructors title. I've no idea. Stewards is going to be very, very busy, but that is the best racing I've seen from Tier 2 all season long, and what a time to do it. Rick, what a race, mate.
Incredible. I've been wanting to say for like 7 laps now, if LB gets that penalty, it's not over yet, but it didn't even matter. Nothing mattered in the end. It was all just carnage, chaos. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say either. Absolutely incredible. Well, it is Lawrence who takes the win on track today. Stewards are going to be very, very busy, but Sumo put everything into that recovery, he says in the chat, and you did a great job, Sumo. Finishing in the top 10 in the end, you should be proud of that one, and I'm sure you'll be back next season and only improving more and more as the weeks have gone on. Jacko finishes P3, he's fuming. There's plenty of people fuming in the chat due to that DRS game moment between LB and MCL, but it is Lawrence who takes the win of the race, and he takes the win of the championship provisionally before stewards. I will not call it right now, even after that penalty, but everything went wrong for LB in the space of 3 or 4 laps before the end of this race. And he finishes P5 in the end. Alex G in P2, that is the most well-deserved podium I have seen from any driver this season. He's my driver of the day, to be honest. Jack Alaco P3, Scott somehow P4 after all of that, LB 5th, Tier down in 6th, MCL 7th, then JB, Crozer and Sumo make out the rest of the top 10. And a bunch of other people finished, but sorry to the people I didn't name, but wow. Wow.
Should we get both LB and Lawrence in in a party?
I don't think that's a good idea. I
know.
I'm gonna
Would create views though.
I'm gonna go to the tier 2 party. So if you want to join, then feel free. Stick around for interviews, everyone, if you're still watching. Annoyed because I had pace once I switched to mediums, closing on the McLarens quite steadily, needing another safety car. Yeah, you did. A lot of people needed a safety car there. Apparently Krauser had floor damage from contact with Max. I think Max binned it and Krauser hit him. So just a really unfortunate incident between the two. I will send Rick an invite to the party as he's asking for it. Alex in the party. We will wait for the 2 Williams drivers as well. Champions of both championships. Again, provisionally. I'm not calling anything right now because stewards are going to be busy, but provisionally they are both champions.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I think there's like 3 penalties for both drivers at least. That could be possible.
Yeah.
Even if it's for forcing others off or DRS or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither, mate. Me neither. We will see. But I'm just going to wait for Lawrence to join in. And then we will start the interviews. Is in. So let us get to interviews. Lawrence, like I said on the stream, I am not calling anything right now because I know stewards are going to be nuts. But
Hi.
provisionally, hi Jack, provisionally, you are finally the APPF1 Tier 2 Drivers Champion and Constructors Champion provisionally. How do you feel?
I'm not going to say or comment anything until the stewards have done what they're gonna do. I think I was pretty instant free. I don't think I did anything wrong in my eyes during that race. I got the 5-second penalty going into the pits. Thanks to whoever ran over the pit bulls. That was really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the 5 seconds, I was just gutted for you because I know how furious you would have been with that, especially with all the battles that were happening with LB. Did you think it was over when you got that penalty, or you just gave it? I saw you gave it absolutely everything regardless. So I think, would you have been so aggressive without the penalty?
No, I wouldn't have been aggressive about the penalty. The 5-second penalty hanging over me, I just had to. It was a bit like Hamilton and Rosberg. I was trying to feed LB into the pack behind.
Yeah.
I only heard what I heard through the group chat. I know MCL raced LB pretty hard by the sounds of it, and LB got caught up by the rest of the group. Yeah, like I said, I'm not, I'm not celebrating anything. Let's see what the stewards say. I thought I did what I could do as fair as I could do. So, yeah, hopefully put on a good battle for you.
Oh, I may have lost my voice tomorrow. That was the extent of what happened today. There was a moment, a couple of laps before the end, where you will have noticed a lot of people drop back a few seconds. That's, I think, the moment that's going to be scrutinized the most. But nothing to do with you, that particular moment.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I noticed a gap form. I'd like to obviously give a shout out to LB. I know we've trash talked each other quite a lot. But no, he is, whatever happens, even if the title does go to him, he's still a worthy champion. He's proved over the season, he's there for a reason. He is, one of the fastest in Tier 2. He is the real deal. So whatever happens, I'll look forward to racing with him next season.
Well, very, very mature response from yourself. I'm sure it's probably easier to be mature when you are the champion. Provisionally.
I'll trash talk him when the results come out.
Well, I mean, what a race, though, from your perspective. A lot of moves happening there and some fantastic strategy going on as well from yourself. But all in all, I think the main question I want to ask is, do you ever want to see Baku on the calendar ever again?
You know what? I woke up last Wednesday morning in such a crap mood after that. It was just I was in a party with LB, and it was just we were just saying, yeah, just take it to the end, and we'll take it to next week. And then I stupidly turned in too early at the castle section. I was just daydreaming, really. I was just in autopilot. Turned in a fraction too early, and then it was a bit of a Charles Leclerc I am stupid moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you could just take Baku off every calendar, I would greatly appreciate that.
I don't second that.
It for some reason it's not my favourite track.
Well, I mean, next season is going to be a cracker, I think, by just the standards of the last few seasons. It's how intense it's been. But I think until I know you're not going to comment too much on the title until until all the stewards' reports are out. But I do want to say that in the chat, LB has said mutual feelings to you with a champagne bottle emoji. So You know, there's some respect between the two great rivals of the season, which is great to see.
Yeah, we like to trash talk each other, but the respect is there, and hopefully that showed with our racing as well today. I think we both gave as good as we got. Yes, I'd say I might have pushed the limits occasionally, but like I said, I think I did everything fairly. I did what I had to do to try and do what obviously win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we've got 11 people watching, which I imagine is most of the drivers. So welcome in everyone for the interviews. But thank you, Lawrence, and provisionally, congratulations.
Thank you. Whilst there's 11 people watching, LB, you stuck.
And just to answer Sumo, did you catch any of the battles I had, Ghost? Me, Zuba, and J-Man were 3 wide at one point. Sumo, that sounds great, but the top 4 were 4 wide pretty much every lap into turn 1, so there wasn't really much I could watch from the back, so sorry about that. We will, though, move on to our second place finisher, and my driver of the day from today, just because of the season he's had, Alex G. Does it feel good to be back on the podium? Oh, fantastic. Alex, just go into the party voice chat for a second, because your voice isn't coming through on the stream. So if you go in the party and then press the 3 dots that say more, and then you can go into voice chat settings, and there should be an option to say share your voice, and if you put that on allow, that should work. Let's hear on the stream. Sumo, is that working now?
Oh, never mind. Now it should be working. Yeah.
Okay. Sumo's not responding, but I can see on my own. It's working. There we go. Okay, thank you, Sumo. Okay. Yeah, I mean, a very topsy-turvy race for yourself. Like you say, the double medium strat worked out in the end, but yeah, I mean, did you think when you saw that gap coming down to the top 6, because you were 9 or 10 seconds behind at one point, and I felt like you were closer, but I think it was just the undercut. I thought you made a mistake, but just the undercut put you that far behind, did it?
Yeah, and basically I decided to stay out and extend my second stint, and the first one on the medium tire, expecting a late safety car, something like that, that could help me. It didn't come, and when I had 13 laps remaining, I was like, I should go in, and I did. And when I came out, like I said, I was 9 seconds behind the top 6, I think. I knew it was going to be hard, but I also knew they were battling. I looked at the minimap; they were all really, really close, and there were penalties. And I was like, "This might get interesting by the end of the race." And it did. Eventually, it did. I saw Tier spinning, LB and MCL coming together. So it did. I tried to keep that in mind. Obviously, looking at 9 seconds with 10 laps remaining, yeah, that doesn't seem very, or it isn't a very good gap. But I tried to focus on my race and be like, they will be battling. Maybe there will be opportunities ahead, and that's what I did.
Well, it was a very accomplished and fantastic recovery from you, and hopefully a sign of things to come for next season.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
But yeah, for sure. So, and Scott says in the chat, GG Alex, great battle, well-deserved podium, and I couldn't
Thank
agree
you.
more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't catch much of your battle with Scott because of the everything that was happening at the front, but I'm sure it was brilliant as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite good. He was on older tires and on the hards. I was fresh on mediums, and it kept me behind for I think 2 laps, maybe 3. Yeah, so and it was a great battle. He kept it clean. I kept it clean as well. So it was great battling, great racing. Yeah, nice to see that.
Well, congratulations on your podium, and
Thank you.
good to see you back on the 3 steps, as it were.
Thank you, and thank you for your commentary and hosting this league, and for the season you've hosted as well. Thank you for your work.
No problem at all. It's my pleasure. Well, we'll move on to the host of this lobby, because I was a bit late. Jack Alaco in P3. So, again, provisionally, congratulations on the Constructors' Championship in Tier 2. But, I mean, that was pretty crazy towards the end.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say, really. I'll not discuss the elephant in the room, but yeah, it happened, and I benefited.
I mean, how was that race for you? Because a lot of that race you spent battling with LB, and were you in a party with Lawrence for that?
No, I've done myself.
Oh, okay. So, but I'm sure you had him in mind when you were battling with him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just do. Also, I knew the situation, so I was going to do everything I could to help Lawrence, and turns out he didn't need my help in the end.
Well, it's nonetheless, despite everything, a fantastic podium and a double podium for Williams.
Yeah.
But I mean, during that race, during those whole battles, I mean, when you saw that gap coming down to LB and Lawrence and MCL, and when it all started kicking off, what was your mentality? Was it be as aggressive as possible, or just stay back, wait, and see what happens?
Well, I was kind of forced to stay back because as you would have seen, I pitted a bit earlier, just to be different. But no, I knew there was going to be carnage in the end. Not as much carnage as I thought, but I just thought if I stay back in 5th and 6th, I can try and pick up a podium, knowing that MCL and LB and Lawrence, not LB, sorry, MCL and Tier and Lawrence all had penalties at the time. And then, yeah, my patience paid off in the end.
Well, it certainly did. Although someone's not happy. Scott in the chat says, "Undeserved podium, Jacko. Go away."
It's not deserved at all. Yeah, I'll happily admit that.
Well, congratulations regardless. It's been a great season from yourself, and you just continue to go from strength to strength without the racing line. So congrats, and on the podium and the Constructors' Championship provisionally. And
Two-time champion.
Two-time champion of Tier 2. So congrats, and see you next season.
See you next season.
Before I sign off, Rick, do you have any questions for any of our podium sitters?
No, because I just did a bit of stat work for tomorrow.
All right.
So you'll see that in the Discord tomorrow and on Thursday. So be prepared.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Well, thank you, Rick, for joining me, even though I didn't let you say much, so sorry about that.
There was nothing to say for me. You were talking all the time because so much was going on.
Yeah, certainly was. You were very helpful with the track limits warnings, though.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining me, and thank you to all of our drivers for making this a fantastic finale for the second season in a row of Tier 2. So well done to everyone. Congratulations to the podium scorers. Hello, Lando No Wins in the chat. I think that's MCL. But thank you all very much, and I will see you in the new year for the new season of APPF1. We'll have Tier 1, Tier 2, and Elite on your screens once again, and perhaps Sprint as well, but we'll see. But until then, the Christmas jumper race, everyone is welcome in APPF1. Cross players on as well. That is on Friday, and that will be streamed by an as of yet anonymous commentator. I'll be racing. I'm pretty sure a few of the people in this party will be racing as well, so have a look. It's just a fun race to end off the year with Christmas festive liveries, so keep an eye out for that. But thank you all for now, so much for watching. Thank you to all our drivers and everyone who helps to make APPF1 what it is. All the drivers, all the league managers, thank you to all of you. As I sign off on the final competitive APP race of the year. Goodbye everyone, Merry Christmas if you celebrate, and a Happy New Year.